here's a quick and dirty for the Sacral Authority. And here's an example chart of someone with Sacral Authority. And how you can notice if someone is Sacral Authority is if this center here, the sacral center, the red square here, is defined, so it's colored in. And if this center on the right, the solar plexus center, is white or undefined open. So if this is the case, if you see this kind of example, doesn't really matter if the root or the spleen are defined, but if the sacral is defined and the solar plexus is undefined, then the sacral is always the authority. There's a hierarchy in the authorities, and if the solar plexus is defined, then it's always the authority. And you can watch the solar plexus video for that one. So the sacral authority, well, first it's good to know that if this center is defined, so the sacral, that automatically means that by aura type, you are a generator or a manifesting generator, depending on the channels that come off of it. And if this is your authority, it means that you can trust, you can rely on your guts, your gut instincts, your gut feelings in the moment. And this is one of the two authorities that are really, in the moment, decision makers, if you like to call it that. And the sacral, it always works in response to something outside of yourself. So that can be a question, it can be something you watch, it can be a bird, it can be a child laughing, it can be an email sent to you. And then your sacral, in response, can decide whether or not it has the energy for that specific thing that is coming towards it in that specific moment. And that's what the sacral's actually continuously communicating to you, whether it has an energy available or not. And it does that via these guttural sounds. And these can look like uh-huh or mm-hmm for yes, or mm-mm or for no. Or there can also be like a or no response, and that means I don't really have an answer right now. So what really helps for this authority is if people in your life ask you yes or no questions, or give you options so you can respond to that with the yes and the no. And it can be that through conditioning that you're not really in contact with your sacral sounds or with the feeling in your body, in your lower belly, for example. It can be the case that you're more up in the head. So especially then, it's very helpful to practice with these yes/no questions and have someone ask you this, so you can become more comfortable, more in touch with your sacral again. If you feel that you've lost it, or if you don't know what it feels like, because it's very important that this is your this is the place where you make decisions from instead of the mind. And if you do that, then you will start to notice, and of course, don't believe anything, but experiment for yourself, that you are giving your energy towards the right things. And that in the end will bring you satisfaction versus frustration. If you give your energy to the wrong things because you think you should be doing that because of a mental decision. Doesn't mean if it's something that you really think you want to do, the sacral will always indicate and give you signals whether or not the energy is there right now. And it can also change. So that's why it's really in the moment. And if it's not clear, if there's no response, then have someone ask you again and check in later to see if the energy is available then.